Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Nice that you're watching. Today we're going to talk about Coldplay. And I know Coldplay is a bit of an inside joke in the guitar community and basically the rock community, maybe everywhere. I do like them, but I'm more into their older stuff, and I used it a lot when I wanted to play guitar. So, for example, I played a lot of the X and Y album. Jonny Buckland, that's the guitarist of Coldplay. He's a very good guitarist, actually. He's very minimalistic in the style, and I think he just knows what to add to a song to make it better. He also plays a lot of variations live, and I just like what he does with his sounds, which basically is a lot of delay and a bit of reverb. A lot of it, actually. For the short video that I made, which is linked below, I will show you what I did there. So let's first take a look at the chords. They use an A minor, a C with a G in the bass, which you play. Basically, you play a C, but then you play the C here on the A string with your pinky, and then with your index finger you grab the G. That's a C with a G in the bass. Then you have an E minor, and then an A minor again. So how did I visualize these? Well, I think in triads. So I started it. So you can see triads everywhere. You got the A minor here, you got the C major here, and then I tried to go down to something in the neighborhood of E minor. So then you're basically in an A minor pentatonic box. And of course you can play around and I repeated a lot of phrases, just trying to be simple, because you have a lot of delay going on, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So let's put the guitar aside for a moment and dive into Logic. Okay, we're back at Logic, and I'm going to show you what did I do everywhere. One thing I can always do is add a little bit of reverb to my vocals as well, which you can see here. You go here, chroma verb, go to mono. Of course, we can always do like we're in space. Echo! We're everywhere. This is fun. Okay, no, but let's make it normal again. The default is pretty good though. Maybe a little bit less distance. I think it's fine. And now you know how to put a little bit of reverb over your vocals. I also did that with my guitar. Also a lot of guitars though. So I took a little bit of a strumming guitar here. Same here actually, but then in layers. Highs also. So one thing that you can see if you look very closely, here I got a lot of things going on. So I added a little bit of EQ to the guitars. Here I added some compression. So I used the Bright Guitar Standard Edition, and I just tried to make the compressor respond to it. So if we play around with it, So what you can see what I did here, that was adjusting a compressor. I'm adjusting a threshold, which means that I had to put it at minor 31, because otherwise it wouldn't really catch the guitar, because it has to have a threshold to actually pick a signal up. And yeah, because it's a it's a strumming pattern, you also want a little bit of dynamics there. And it was already fairly regular, so I didn't really bother to do a lot with it. Here we can have a look at another delay, which is crunch guitar. You can say that is a fairly you can also see that this is a very low amount that I did. This is because it's reacting, because it's only one time strum, so that's why it's only going that way and not very fast like it does here. All has to do with what you play, because it gets pressed down a bit. Let's look at the actual stretch sound. So that's here, it's just without everything. So what I did here is I took a look at the delay and I thought, well, which one is best to use? I thought, well, it's a very slow song, so you want a pretty slow delay. So I thought, well, maybe half note. And I clicked it here, half note flutter. And well, I didn't really like the flutter. I did like the way how they configured it all. So I just put the modulation on 0. And yes, then I looked at, well, how do I want it to sound like? You can have it very mild. You can also have it with quite some highs. That's something you can control here. So let's have a look at what it does then. So what you can hear probably is when I reduce down with the highs, it becomes much less present. So that's the way how to blend your delay in a way it doesn't distract, but more to create sort of base layer for everything to get along. And then output, so let's hear that. So that's a fairly different sound, of course. You can play around with it like the Edge does. One way to be lazy on stage, but you have to be really precise with your timing though, so that's not really lazy. So we covered the delay, we can hear it with and without now. So let's also look at what I did with the whole reverb, which is located here. It is located in a bus. And the bus, you think school bus? No, it's a bus. You use in Logic. It's a bus for all your effects, because you want everything in there in the bus. Or at least these, they have their signals. So you send the signals to the bus. And that is something you do here with sends. And you can decide whether you want it very much or not at all even. So you can try and do stuff with it. So let's go here. And let's see what happens when I press my space bar. So you can see that all the guitars are basically responding in the same room. And that is a way to not get a very muddy tone. And yes, you can use that instead of just constantly copying one reverb to another one, to another one. It's an easy way to have some reverb, but you can also use this for delay, of course. You can put basically everything in there. You can put gain in there, auto tune if you like, so everything. And you can just send it towards there, and it's a 100% wet signal, like you can see here. For example, here, you see it's put at 100%, so that means that there's no dry signal. So everything that you send to there becomes some percentage. So for example, if you send 44% to the wet signal, you basically have your dry at 100 and the wet at 44. So you can play around with that. This was basically it. And hopefully you liked it. Leave a comment down below. Maybe you have some tips for others. Please subscribe and hit the like button. I'll see you at the next video. Bye.